We are with Jacqueline. Jacqueline is from Egypt. I'm going to turn it to her to introduce herself, tell us a little bit about who she is and where she works.
Yeah, hello. I'm Jackline from Egypt, and I've been working in child protection and child safeguarding since 2012 now. I have been in a lot of organizations like Care and Institution, also Catholic Relief, and also as a child protection technical person in Terrorism for 3 years, and for technical advisor, child protection technical advisor for Save the Children for 5 years. And in 2020, I started a new chapter in my life and resigned from a formal work to a consultancy missions, doing what I love to work as usual with other places on ground with NGOs, local NGOs, and NGOs, and so forth. So yeah, I have one kid and one girl, and I've been uh, in Egypt, yeah, all my life. And I turned to other places like Canada for a while, Kenya, Tanzania, Syria, Northeast Syria, and Jordan 3 times as well. Also supporting child protection programs in those places. Yeah.
Wonderful. Welcome. Um,
Hi.
Jacqueline, can you please tell us how um, the system of child protection works in Egypt? So you are specifically, is it different in different cities? Because I know you're in Cairo, but is it different or is it the same? How does the system function in Egypt?
Yeah, for Egypt, we have legal child protection system according to the Egyptian law. We have like a place like named NCCM, National Council for Childhood and Motherhood, and we have a helpline to support the children who are exposing any kind of abuse, vulnerable children with disabilities, and so children who are exposed to domestic violence, and so also girls who are exposed to FGM or child marriage. So this is the formal place in Egypt who are supporting child protection. This is a quite bit uh, not very well activated amongst all cities uh, because of some lack of um, consistency. So every city know the law, know how they can function, but lack of capacities, lack of um, like fees or any income for this. This is all voluntary work in all cities, so not many people are interested to do this work. But officially, NCCM is the formal place for taking uh, care of children in Egypt. So yeah,
So NCCM is the law.
NCCM,
Is
yeah, National Council for Childhood and Motherhood.
okay.
This is the formal, the legal one, according to the law, the legal place who are responsible for taking any complaints, reporting complaints to take care of children who are exposing any kind of abuse. Um, But yeah, as I told you, this is not the great one, but this
Okay.
is officially the formal one.
The official. I heard you say that it's voluntary. So the NCCM. Does it hire people? Or can you explain what you mean by voluntary?
Yeah, the people in NCCM as a facility, they hired by the Ministry of Health for this kind of work, which is a bit not relevant, but yeah, this is the situation now. But in other cities, when we talk about forming like a child protection committee, the child protection committees on all cities are totally voluntary work. Besides their work, there is a form of committee according to the law, representative from Ministry of Education, other from Ministry of Youth, other from Ministry of Health, and so and so. But they doing this work voluntary without income, and besides this, without a bit of consistency and a bit of um, um, arranged job description for this role. So they have been told you should take care of any child who exposed like domestic violence, FGM, and so. So when I called the helpline returned me or transferred me to the city which I report the case from. So if this city and if the child protection committee in this city is active, they will proceed and process. But if they are not, um, sometimes the NCCM goes to other places to support, not related to child protection committee. But this is the official channel, but sometimes it's not quite um, functioning well.
So, Jacqueline, I'm hearing you say, and I want to make sure it's accurate, that the NCCM uh, supports voluntary groups in cities to
No,
no.
no. No, NCCM, according to the law, is the official place to take care of those cases. Under this NCCM, they, according to the law, either they have a decree to form a child protection committee in each city,
Okay.
but this formation is clear, but those people are already have jobs,
Yes.
so other jobs related or other interventions, roles related to child protection is voluntary work. They didn't get any income or fees for this work.
So what I'm hearing you say, the volunteers who will carry out the function of child protection could be from anywhere. It could be I could be a plumber, I could be a doctor, I could be
No, no,
no.
no.
Okay.
The formation of this committee is according to the law, representative from Ministry of Health, representative
Uh,
from Ministry of Education, representative from Ministry of Social Solidarity, and representative from INGO and NGO. So this is the formation is
I
very
see.
clear in each governorate or each city, but their work as a child protection committee is voluntary work.
Yes. So
They
it's
not
not
get paid, but they have a plan and so, but they not get paid for this work.
okay. So it's not, for example, in Canada, you have to have a social work degree in most places and you go through training and so on. So what I'm hearing, it's representatives from each of those fields you mentioned, the sectors you mentioned, but do they have any social work or formal experience education around child protection?
Yes, but they took these trainings from INGOs.
Ah, okay.
The NCCM collaborate with INGOs like a project or fund to train those child protection committee. Also adding a social worker to the committee, committed to the work, and also a lawyer and psychosocial or therapist one
Mm,
to deal with these cases, but taking decision for how we can proceed with each case is for the committee
okay.
itself, yeah, in each governorate. We
Okay.
have 4 or 5 governorates have active committees, but other is not a bit active one.
Okay. Now I think I understand better. And so you're saying if such a committee is there are the people interested and it develops. For instance, in Cairo, you'll have a better chance of a committee coming together than in smaller, you're saying smaller cities or towns where there might not be a committee.
It's not. It depends on the INGOs working on this city. So,
Okay.
for example, in Asyut city or governorate, as we call it, there are many INGOs working in Asyut, which is Upper Egypt. So the Child Protection Committee supported very well from INGOs as capacity building, sometimes paying some fees for them in coordination with NCCM. So in this time, they are working very well and very active. But other places who are not have the chance to funded by any INGOs like for Said or others, so they will see the child protection committee is not very well active.
Okay. Okay. That's fascinating. Thank you for explaining all of that. Can you tell us what type of cases these committees might see? For instance, in Egypt, what are the types of cases that get reported or are managed by
Mm.
by the committee?
Yeah, they have a priority according to, yeah, all the cases are the same, but they have priorities according to lack of number of people who are working and other things. Uh, but the priority for the child marriage and female mutilated genitalia, because the FGM, because we have still have this kind of traditions in Egypt, and also the domestic violence for the children. This those are the priority, and if a child being in the street, living in the street, so they have those kind of priorities, working very hard and speed with the speed. Once they report the case, they directly go for it, especially if the report is the marriage is still not happening, or the FGM is still not happening. They try to prevent this kind of criminal to happen. But if it happens, they offer like a support, but also from other NGOs or places who are very specialized in this kind of work to support a girl who are married under 18 to yeah, for the marriage life, or if the girl exposed to FGM already, they try to chasing the criminals who did this, which go to the jail, and the child itself providing health care for her to fast healing.
Okay, so I'm hearing that due to limitations. The committees focus more on the extreme cases, FGM, child marriage,
Marriage.
marriage, and children living on the street. Okay.
Yes.
Now, um,
Any and also any severe domestic violence. If a
severe.
child,
Okay.
yes, yes, reported that his mom is hitting by his father and his father hitting him or something like this, the committee directly go because they have like a credit as a law under the law to do the things like the police,
Okay.
same like the police.
Okay.
They have the credit to do this.
Like, okay, so they have the policing powers to go and arrest. Okay.
Yes,
As you said, if for child marriage, FGM, and severe domestic violence, they have policing powers to go and arrest the perpetrators. Okay. So here in Canada and the US and the UK, child protection workers also respond to cases like not so severe domestic violence or, homes that are not clean, kids that get hit, kids that don't go to school. What happens to those cases, for instance, in Cairo, and how do you respond to those cases, the not so severe or extreme?
yeah. We have also in like for instance for schools we have like a similar child protection committee and we have decrees according to administrative education. We have like a committee, child protection committee from the school head and a social worker as well to deal with these kind of not severe cases. And also we have Ministry of Social Solidarity who are working with uh, um, not severe cases. And also we as NGOs or trying to or NGOs trying to train the staff in each place for safeguarding and for child protection to also disseminate this kind of messages to other places to deal for the people to deal with not severe to train them on how to positively discipline their children because we have here in Egypt like traditions obeying father and mother. They have all the power. We can't knock the doors. If a father hitting his child, we don't have the power to knock the doors and prevent this to happen. Or in the street, we might also expose violence from those people. They said this is not your business to deal with my child. I know that I raised him well, and so and so. This is yeah not the case in Egypt.
So, what I'm understanding, so a week ago, I spoke with a child protection worker from UAE, Rame, and and I think the Egyptian system functions like the UAE. So you have two-tiered system. She was the school-based social worker, like you explained, who works with children on the not so extreme cases. So the cases like you described. And she said if the situation is extreme, it goes to another committee. So it sounds
Yeah,
like it's the same.
yes,
Okay.
the same. And if it is beyond the administrative education, we go straight to the helpline in NCCM to deal with the severe cases as well. So we have like this kind of hierarchy and channel to not يعني make it hard for NCCM to deal with all cases because they don't have this kind of capacity to do this. And
Right.
also we empower the community leaders, which they have the power, more power than us, and more power than even NCCM, like sheikh, like priest, like other those things. They have multiple power for people. They can affect, they can encourage people to not hitting. So we are also targeting the community leaders to do the awareness raising for not exposing children to harm as well.
Okay. And so Jacqueline, for you, which is the positions did you specifically work within that you have the experience in?
I have the experience in both. Actually,
Okay.
I worked with NCCM for as a formal person for 1.5 years in the helpline. So I know what kind of cases they should deal
Okay.
with inside the place. And also what I'm trying to do now is to empower the NGOs themselves to have the experience to do a safeguarding for children and the activities they are doing, and also train them to do the positive discipline and protection for the children in the community as
Hmm.
well. So I'm doing the both now, and also I'm trying to go deep inside the places to deal with mothers who are not doing great with their children, to teach them how they can treat their children well, how they can deal with the challenges with their children, because we have a lot of issues, because all the, yeah, as Egyptian traditions, as you might know, we have not one or two or three children. We might have five or six, seven, eight children.
Okay.
And also we have families, they have one or two or three children who have disabilities, which another sector, as a big sector here in Egypt, um, uh, stigmatized from being have disabilities, and the services as well in Egypt is not great
Hmm.
uh, when it comes to working with children with disabilities as well.
Okay. So you have experience in quite a lot of of
Yeah,
of the
I worked
sectors.
with places. I'm now working with places or NGOs who are targeting children with disabilities, trying to do like a safe environment for them as a team, safeguarding procedures, and also working with their target group from moms uh, to um, to discuss how they can do or deal with children with disabilities in their family and others who are disabled,
Mm.
and how they can deal with the stigma. And also we have another sector. I worked with children who are not having parental care
Hmm.
in orphanage places. They also a big sector. Thank God we have many places who are working in this space, but it's still they facing stigma, especially when they become youth, and try to engage with the communities and try to find jobs. They are struggling to find jobs as they are coming from orphanage places, because many places don't accept uh, a, a boy or a girl came from orphanage place. So yeah, we have a lot of issues.
Okay. And um, so what is it that, because you mentioned um traditions, culture traditions, how do, if maybe start with explaining to those of us who may not know or understand, what are some of the traditions within the community you work in I don't want to say all of Egypt, because is Egypt, as I'm sure,
Yeah.
has got different communities and traditions. But
Mhm.
the communities that you work in, what are the traditions or customs that make it that are challenging to what you're trying to do?
Yeah. As you said that I'm working with places that they low level of education. Uh, so we have traditions like marry the girls very early in very early age, especially in Upper Egypt. Still do this kind of tradition, and also we have what we call tolerance with violence, especially physical violence. We still don't see violence as a violence. It seems like a kind of discipline that children, so it's not like violence. If we talk with parents, they always said we love our children. We are doing this to discipline them, for to preventing them from any kind of harm from outside, to trying to discipline them. Um, so yeah, this kind of tradition, the FGM is a bit little in our communities, but it is still in Upper Egypt. Basically, sometimes we have a religious background or traditions we should follow. And also, we have tradition named respecting older people. Sometimes this kind of things that we raise our children to respect all the older people, sometimes expose the children themselves to be violent, to have violence from those older people. Um, and we seen that many children expose violence from their uncles, from aunts, from the closest person. They never doubt that they could do this kind of harm for them, but still very sensitive. So if we open this discussion with people, they keep saying, no, the uncle is not, he is fine, he is doing a lot of things. The priest, the sheikh, we have a lot of trust for the sheikh and the priest here. Um, so even if we have cases, proof cases, the people do not believe it easily for the priest or for the faith, because yeah, it's not happening. You are faking it, and so
So for those quickly, a priest, is this the Coptic
yeah,
Egyptian sector, and then the sheikh is the Muslim.
yes,
Just for the audience to understand. Okay. Um. So how do you work within these? I mean, it to me it sounds like quite a challenge. If these are traditions or customs, how do you work with families? What are the hardships? What are the challenges that you encounter?
yeah. First, we are working in many levels. The first one, the child themselves, the children themselves, to teach them that this is not acceptable and this is acceptable, because uh, sometimes the children themselves didn't know that it is not acceptable behavior from elders. And the other circle is the family itself. We trying just to discuss what if we try to do this kind other techniques rather than hitting your child. You can do this and this, and come back with your feedback. Is anything changed or not? So we trying to like doing like a back and forth discussion to yeah to um to make it sure that these concepts is not just superficial and they knock their heads, yes, 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 but they try to experience. And sometimes we introduce or present other families who follow the positive discipline techniques and how they succeeded in preventing a lot of harm and feeling very safe and friendly with their children by not hitting them and so and so. It's a bit challenging, especially with the people who are quite low in education. But sometimes we have successful cases. Let me say, once we had we did a lot of sessions with children, and also we had the positive discipline course with their parents, and we had a discussion presenting the children and their parents, and they exposed that they expressed that the program turned them from being bad person to nice person. And one of the children stand and say, "This is the first time in my life my father hugged me and kissed me since I was 6." Because but are also part of our traditions. Once the boy hits the 8 or 6 years old, the father stopped hugging or kissing him, and the mother as well, as they said, I need him to be a man, and the man never has tears and should be have not kind of this feeling. Um, so yeah, and there are a lot of those traditions in our field, a bit challenging, but we're trying to sometimes back and forth discussion, uh, and also in other places like schools or youth centers, we related to the decrees, because they have decrees, discipline decrees inside schools. So we related to those decrees, and we said we try to activate those decrees, because also as NCCM, the schools has decrees from Ministry of Education to form a child protection committees and so and so, but not all the schools following the decree or following it in a wrong way. Sorry, I'm a talkative person.
No, it's
So stop
wonderful.
me.
No, no, no. Please don't continue. So it to me it sounds, what I'm hearing is there you and your colleagues must have a tremendous amount of experience in abilities, because it sounds like um the work that you have to do is quite different in the way that here in the West we would meet with parents and have conversations with them, because we have statutory law behind us that parents cannot tell us to go away. In
Mm.
most cases, we have to be there. But for you, it sounds like there's a lot of um, your techniques. You have to have a lot of skill
Yeah,
to engage in with parents in a different way. So can you tell us a little bit about how do you do all of that? How do you build up that skill? Because I'm hearing that you've had some success where parents work with you, and how do you do
yeah,
all that?
yeah. First of all, I'm a self educate myself most of the time, and also I have the experience to have the capacity building training from all the places I worked with. terrorism and care and Catholic relief services serve the children. They all the time building our capacities to do such a work because they know that we should have multiple capacities because sometimes we are working with a school child protection committee, for instance, but they also fathers and mothers, they have the same culture, they have the same traditions, so they asked a lot of questions related to parenting. So we should at least talk about this, open discussions around it. Sometimes they try to resist our work because they said the children are very not quite obeying our rules. They are nowadays they are not quite good persons and so on. So they try to resist working or activating the committees or protection of something like this because they said the children themselves are not good and they need to be helped to be good. Sometimes they related by the background. The children have a bad background. They come from slum areas, so we need to physically hit them and we need to yell at them and bad words is good with them to be disciplined and so and so. So we need to have this kind of difference. So I have the positive discipline course, facilitation for community change, PSA course, um, like psychosocial first aid, if the children expose any trauma or kind of losing their parents and so and so. And also safeguarding procedures inside the NGOs, how we can develop or uh, uh, design safeguarding procedures, CFRM system inside the INGOs. Working also with refugees are different. They try to building our capacities on the Egyptian law related to refugees and related to child protection uh, laws in Egypt. So we need to have those kind of information, skills, and capacities to do this work because all our training, all our work with parents, with refugees, with unaccompanied children, also open different kind of discussions around from where I could have this kind of services. How should I deal with my child who is doing this and this and this? So we need to have this kind of a bit capacity at least to respond or discuss this kind of issue because most of the time we don't have a social worker, we don't have a psychologist in place. We have a lack of psychologists in our country. And when it comes to psychiatrists, their fees is very high, so we can't most of the time hire them, or the people can't go direct to the therapist because two reasons. First, high fees. The second one, also the stigma. They feel afraid of being not crazy to go to the therapist and so and so. So we have a bad reputation about therapists or psychiatrists um, or any places who provide this kind of service.
Okay. Um, Jacqueline, that was fantastic, and thank you. Um, can you spoke several times now, you mentioned refugees. Can you explain to us the concept of refugees? Is it that is Egypt seeing refugees from other countries or within Egypt? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, especially, yeah, I'm talking about the refugees who are coming from other countries. in our places, seek for um, support because their country faces uh, war or something like Palestinian, Syrian, and Sudanese, Eritreans. We have all these nationalities that we are welcoming all. So we provide them many places. INGOs providing them many services to live here in Egypt as much as they could, and so also they tried now to some refugees tried to do like local NGO, or we name it CBOs, or refugee-led associations to like advocate for their problems, challenges, and so we tried also to support them, empower them to access the service safely and have also safe environment in their community,
Yeah, so to
community.
me that I mean that's a whole other level of challenge
Yeah,
when you have refugees that different culture, different background, and
yes,
you
yes,
have to, yeah, okay.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I have this a multiple of experiences because yeah, it's a luck for me to work on those all those sectors in my life because I'm quite like not just it's not just a work for me, it's a passion, it's a reason for living my life because I'm one who exposed a lot of vulnerable and harm in my childhood. So this is my mission now for a long time to make it happen for other children um, as much as I could.
yeah, that's phenomenal. And it and it's important, I believe, for child protection workers from other um countries, significantly in the West, um, to appreciate and understand um, that, for instance, if you're working with refugees, as you mentioned, or the two-tiered system in Egypt, where you're dealing with, as I'm hearing you describe, there's so many significant issues that you might not have the same time or ability or effort to deal with this level of abuse. You got to focus mostly on the extreme, and I'm hearing the extreme levels of abuse you're talking about are quite extreme. So the FGM, child marriage, that in the West you're not dealing with. Um, okay. Can you speak a little? Can you speak about what does the public in Egypt misunderstand about this work? Before we hit record, you spoke a little bit about it. What is it that they don't understand about what is done, that makes it hard or sometimes impossible to do your job?
Yeah, first of all, the most hard thing that they said all the time that child protection is not our priority now. They misunderstand the word itself, child protection, from what? From being abused? No, we don't have this kind of issues in our places because all the people are kind and we try to raise our children in a nice way and so and so. Also, they might understand our work as a luxury work. So you are uh, dealing with a minor issue, which is child protection. We have a lot of issues. We have lack of income generating, and we have economic situation, bad economic situation, the education, and so and so. So sometimes they understand that child protection is taking the child from their families if they are exposing any kind of domestic violence in families, which is wrong. And all the time I try to correct this word. It's not about that, but it's about having safe environment, safe well-being for the children in any environment. And the last thing we need to prevent the children to be with their parents. This is the last decision, not the first decision. So sometimes people not resisting, resisting calling the helpline because they thought that they will not answer us. They will not figure out our issues, or they will take our children away from us. Um, and because of the helpline is not have that kind of marketing on social media about their roles and responsibilities, so it's still misunderstanding about this issue. This kind of, yeah, a bit challenging for us. Um, Also, honestly, child protection needs, as I told you, needs a lot of capacities and skills, but some people working this kind of work um, is as as a work, just work to get money. So sometimes they um, they are not cooperative with us. We did a lot of effort in a way with the parents, with schools, and they come with another issue, sometimes different about what we are talked about. So the people keep saying which one of you is right, because they working as what do you need? We need to talk about 1, 2, 3. Yes, we will talk about 1, 2, 3. Regardless other things, sometimes they try to say anything, some message, some issues without bases. They don't have the information, and keep saying things is not right at all. I face this kind of bad information with a lot of people I worked with. This doctor said to us not to do this and this, and now you said no, you should do. Which one of you is right? Which one of you is wrong? So it takes a lot of debate. Um, Also in Egypt, we are not a lot of consultants or persons with this kind of skills or capacity. We are a few people in Egypt who are no understanding, have this kind long of experience. Um, so sometimes it's a bit hard to me to reply to all the places who access me to ask me to do this workshop or this program or this and so. And the new people have not have this passion to learn to work on themselves to have this kind of experience to do. So they taking it as yes, I can do it. It's easy, and they read some papers. Yes, I can do it, but it's not that way.
Yeah. Um, so what I'm hearing is, uh, I don't have to guess. I'm guessing here, but maybe it's not too far out that the work that you've done historically and that you do now, especially on the hotline, there's a lot of emotional um there's a word that often when I speak with child protection workers, they use a secondary trauma. Um, is that a term you're familiar with? Secondary trauma? So trauma that you experience because you are dealing with others' trauma?
Yeah, yeah, but this was long away. When I started working, I have this kind of trauma, and I couldn't sleep well from the cases I've seen in my first experience with children, especially in Upper Egypt. But now, yes, I'm still, uh, but I'm trying to balance between my work. Try to balance my work and my personal well-being as much as I could by doing um, activities with my family, but sometimes I couldn't, especially when I was working last 2 months ago with refugees. I couldn't sleep the whole 2 months as well because I have heard a lot of um, issues, a lot of problems, people who lost their parents, they people who couldn't see their families for years now, and so and so. So yeah, I can't guarantee that I'm 100% um, can uh, spread between my personal life and well-being and my work, but I'm trying.
Yeah. And so what keeps you motivated to keep doing this work? The challenges that you experience and face are massive. What keeps you going to continue
Uh,
to do this?
uh, First of all, the violence I had in my childhood. I exposed the FGM. I exposed a lot of bad conditions in my life. I exposed to harassment from the closest people in my family. So this is the thing that when I thought that the children now with all the technology and all the accessibility would also expose more and more, um, and also the good quotes from um, trainees and from the parents or families I worked with. Sometimes I had these messages on WhatsApp said to me, "We are so grateful for you to open our eyes to do this and this with our children. We couldn't find out the problem without of your discussion with us. Also, the NGOs and we have a safeguarding procedures. They said to me, we did a lot of things since since the training we have done with you. So this keeps me motivated all the time. I had those messages from people I worked with them like 3 years ago from now. They keep communicating and send me photos for their uh, children. It's much better now. We are doing great as a family now. So yeah, uh, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And Jacqueline, what would you say, or um anyone who's watching this, especially someone might be watching from Egypt, what would you say is your message, or you'd want the public to know about this work, especially in Egypt?
Yeah, I would say that child protection is one of the child rights. It's about safe environment. If you need to see a man and a woman empowered, can deal with life issues, you should uh, um, not exposing them to a hard issue or vulnerable issue in their childhood. For the people who are uh, seeking to work in child protection, you need to build your capacities well. You need to know the context in Egypt. You need to know the traditions in Egypt well, because sometimes we started with manipulating, we started with accepting these harmful practices to to keep the discussion open more and more and more until they trust on me so I can change. So it's long way, and um, most of my time I appreciate and feel joy about every single small success I do. Sometimes I work with 30 or 40 parents, and one of them come to me with this joyful message that he is good now with his children. Yeah, I now feel happy with every single tiny success. Yeah, child protection is a long way. We have a lot of challenges here in Egypt. We need to build our capacities well and know, understand, and unify our point of view, unify our vision. Because, yeah, I've seen a lot of places, they have their own agenda, which is not absolutely not the child protection, but it's about just working, just keep working. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Is there anything that a question I did not ask that you thought I should ask you about your work and you want to talk about before we end? Anything else you want to say?
Um, I just know. No, I guess, yeah, Egypt trying very hard to prevent violence for the children. NCCM is one of the greatest issues I've done in Egypt since 2008 so far. But yes, as many countries, we have a lot of challenges because we have a lot of bad traditions in our life. And also, one of the biggest that we have big families here, the parents, and we have 4 or 5 or 6, sometimes 10 kids. So we're still struggling with this issue. We're still struggling with bad traditions when it comes to respecting the elders um, in any way. So anyone with white hair, so he is wise or she is wise, he or he should be respected. All his words are good. And so this is one of the most important issue we shouldn't raise our children on. We should respect all and we should suspect all. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you for your time and for your story, Jacqueline. It was absolutely fascinating.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.